Well, I think everybody, like you can live in a Fifth Avenue high-rise, beautiful skyscraper building, but you still use the same principles that you use in the trailer park. Mm-hmm. People are people, and people, and bringing joy into people's lives just by being one little thing at a time. You know, speaking to somebody on the street, opening the door for somebody, just little kindnesses. Just means so much. You know, bringing somebody a meal, you know, asking them how they're feeling, telling them their hair looks great.
Yeah.
You know, it's not to me about any one big thing. It's about a million little things.
Welcome to the Americus Podcast, where we pursue what it means to become a next level neighbor, creating a place we enjoy with the people we love. I'm your host, John Schroeder, and today I am joined by my new friend, Mavis Stevens.
Mavis Stevens.
Mavis is an artist and she's a writer, and I'm just so glad to have her on the podcast today. So thank you so much for coming.
I am absolutely thrilled to be here in my beautiful city, Americus, on Forsyth Street. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's a lot of history here, and we're going to get into all of those things.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you so much. We've got a chance to meet each other in various different places, at the Visitor Center for coffee, First Friday events. We've seen each other at the Christmas parade.
I love the Christmas parade.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of things that are happening in America. So I'm really excited about that. And so we got a chance to talk a little bit, and then you filled out the form. We're here on the podcast. And I love how you described yourself. This is what you said. You said you're an artist, a writer, a gypsy, a lover of life, and absolutely, totally blessed. Now, that's a strong intro for any person. So tell me a little bit before we kind of dive into everything else. What's actually bringing you joy right now?
But bringing me joy is living in a beautiful Americus, Georgia, amongst all my peeps, my tribe, all my new friends, the beautiful essence of everything that is Americus. My book, my artwork is bringing me so much joy. Everything wonderful that I have in life has somehow been connected to me through creativity.
Yes.
And through art and being out there, friends I've made, coming back to Americus, places I've been, almost any place you can ever say I've been, I can ever say I've been, somehow art took me there.
Yeah.
And art is my gift. And I am just like so incredibly grateful. I don't know what I did to ever be so blessed. But,
so you call it a gift. Is this something that you knew as a young child? Is this something that you progressed to learning, or did you just know right away, this is my gift?
I knew it all started right here on Jackson Street specifically.
Okay.
So Jackson Street, I was in the second and third grade. We were living here in America, second or third grade. We were living here in Americus, and they closed off the street for an arts festival. I mean, like, closed the street. This event was like so important that they closed the street. So that was just so cool to me that they would actually do that. And my mother took me to the festival, and there were several things that happened. Let me back up just a little bit. My mother would take me to Crest, where the spot is now. It was Crest Department Store back then.
Oh, wow.
And she would say, you can have a toy. Will you pick out a toy? I picked out skeins of yarn.
Okay.
I did not. And there was like this wall of color in Crest. It's right up there where the stage is now.
Okay.
I remember exactly where it is. And there was like this wall of color, and I would just have so much fun, and just my heart would be so alive picking out the color of yarn. So we had that, and that is on Jackson Street. So the festival's on Jackson Street, and Eddie Owen Martin had a booth there, and he is if you don't know, he's a folk artist from Buena Vista, and for his time, in approximately 67, 68. For his time, he was way, way ahead of his time. He dressed way ahead of his time. He thought way ahead of his time. And everybody, I mean, there's not a soul that ever saw him that didn't notice him. I mean, like, it wasn't ever anybody that just walked down the street. And he was so creative and so wonderful, never spoke to him, but I saw him. And also my neighbor, Bunny Arnold, on Hancock Drive, had made a paper mache pig out of, like, she took this pink blob and made a pig. And I just thought that that was the most amazing thing. Somebody would take a pile of nothing and make it into something. So she was displaying her pig at the festival.
Okay.
These things. So we have in front of the store with the wall of yarn, my neighbor's Bunny's pig. And everybody's looking at her pig. And I'm just like, I had watched her create. And when I turned around and saw Eddie Owen Martin, I didn't have a conscious knowing of it, but I compare it to like being called to a ministry. Now, my little girl mind, my child mind didn't put that together, but that's the day that my life became what it is.
Wow. Now, when you stepped into that and you said, okay, I want to pursue this, what did that look like with your family, your dynamics, your parents? Were they like, yeah, let's do this? Or did you kind of were you kind of a little shy about it and just kind of worked into it? There
was never, ever a doubt. I took my yarn and finally did something with it. I learned to crochet. The night that Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, I learned to crochet that night.
Wow.
I mean, I really learned that night. I'm that specific about it. So I was doing something with my yarn and my color. My parents, I was in, we had started moving around at that time, which is another story we'll go into in a little bit. We were living in Warner Robins, and there was an arts festival, a fest like the one here. And I was 15. I put in an application. My application got accepted. I had just been making stuff. I was just obsessed with, that was just nothing else in my life but making stuff. And got accepted into the arts festival. Wellston Split Rail Fair in Warner Robins. Meanwhile, because I'm a gypsy, my family is a gypsy. I come to gypsy by nature. Naturally, we had moved. So I wasn't even old enough to drive. My dad actually brought me back to Warner Robins. We were living in Florida at the time. By the time it was time for the festival, brought me back. And there was like this little arch that you drove under to get to the festival grounds. And I just looked there, and it still makes me tear up to this day with emotion and joy. Whatever it takes, this is going to be my life.
Yeah.
And September 13th of this year, that will be 50 years ago.
Wow.
And it has been my life.
I love that. So you started creating different things. When was the first time you sold something, or that you put something together, or was it about kind of making a business?
Well, it was so wonderful to have that festival, because there was a focus on selling, making money at that festival. And I made a body of work of actually rugs out of yarn. I've always been fiber. That's the only medium I've ever used is fiber. And I made my first sale there.
Okay.
And
what did that feel like?
It was like nothing I've ever experienced to this day. To this day, the first of something is always like the most thrilling, and to this day. And then I started selling things on consignment at a little shop there in Warner Robins. And
how old were you at this time?
15.
You were 15 years old.
15.
Okay. Do you remember what the rug looked like? Do you remember what the person looked like? How much you sold it for?
I don't remember how much I sold that rug for, but I remember altogether I sold more than one thing at that show. Well, to back up, the rug was a blossom, like a cherry blossom, I think.
Okay.
And it was a hand hooked rug. And that show I made $80.
Wow.
And that was, 1975. And I was, so that was a lot more. $80 was a lot back then.
Yeah.
And I had all the money in the world. And my dad was just sort of appeasing me, taking me to the show. And he thought it was going to be a bunch of hippies. And when he saw the $80, he was on board then.
He said, let me go get you some more.
Yeah, go get some more yarn. That's all I did. I mean, I didn't, know anything, if I got clothes or whatever, like most teenagers did, it would be something to enhance that I needed for the, to look cool for the festival or whatever. I mean, that was just the focus.
Yeah.
And, school was kind of, I did whatever I had to do to get through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that.
I got graduated from high school in Taylor County with congeniality, not with grades.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it. So creative personality, where you have big personality even as a kid?
I must have. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think I was any different. I remember just being, if you're talking about art, talking about creativity, I'm down. Just as I am now, right now, just really no different. Mm-hmm. And because of my gift, not necessarily because of anything I necessarily am, but because of my gift, I was always so blessed to have shone, it was like a bright light, but it was, again, God,
yeah, absolutely.
The higher power, something much bigger than me, something much bigger than me.
I love that.
That I was chosen to be a voice for, a vessel,
to be able to create something, right?
A vessel, yeah.
And so you're creating what kind of products or materials do you make again?
I started out with hand hooked rugs, selling with hand. I mean, I did all kinds of crochet, anything with yarn. I've tried it. But I also knew that I needed to have some continuity in what I did. I didn't want to have a doll, a rug, a purse, unless they all blended, had something, told a story. I wanted the whole ensemble of my booth, and I still stand to that today, to tell a story.
Yeah.
The whole thing coming together to tell a story. So it was rugs at first. Then I just wanted to get down to the nitty gritty. I wanted to learn how to spin yarn. So I went on a mission.
Here we go.
I went on a mission to find a spinning wheel, and that was not easy. We didn't have any internet back then. You just had to seek and find. And I did a show in Tifton. Mm-hmm. And there it was just like seeing Oz, Wizard of Oz, when they were going through the poppy field, just saw the castle, or the Wizard of Oz. The big, there it is. It's Oz. It was just it just had this a beam of light around it. So I'm like, okay, we're going to go about the business of figuring out how to, get this for me. Absolutely. So I was in high school at that time, and I started hand spinning at that time.
Okay.
And also I've taught, been so blessed to teach a lot of classes. Mm-hmm. I would say probably workshops more than, and over the time going into a lot of schools. And one story, and I didn't even have it on this form, that is just so wonderful. During that time in high school, I was on a program at school that you didn't have for non-college bound kids. You had to get a job. So when I got approved for the program, problem was then they wanted me to get a job, and that did not set well with me because it's taking time away from art.
Yeah, for sure.
So I started teaching kids younger than me classes in my parents' home. And I had, a lot of kids that taught. Now they're, clearly like the grandparents now. And there were two, Karen and Kim, two particular kids that came to my class. And, at time happened, we, went our separate ways and everything in life. And then Facebook came around and we reconnected. Wow. And now they are art teachers now. And I have gone into both of their schools multiple times. We've done multiple projects together to this day that lasted. Art lasts, y'all.
I love that.
Art sustains.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get to learn history through art.
Right.
Very, very, very creative. What people were interested in, what people valued at the time, and how they expressed themselves through that. Now, you mentioned that your parents were gypsy, and that you're gypsy. Mm-hmm. Can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Yes, it's such a blessing. It's such a blessing, and the beautiful part of it is that it's what most people would consider tragic, but I considered it triumph, because it's what led me to be right here with y'all today, and led me to this joyous life I have now. We were living on Hancock Drive, and those of you who are around Americus know that's a very nice, settled Mr. Rogers neighborhood, was then and is still to this day, in a beautiful house. I don't know what happened. Something went terribly awry, and my dad lost that house. And he was able to sell it, and we moved into a glorified camper.
Okay.
In Trenton, Florida. And you might as well have put me on Mars. But the people around us were just, everybody had a story. Everybody was fascinated. And for the longest time, we were like, it's not Americus. this is not Americus, but then, we realized it's Trenton. It's wonderful. It has its own unique, it has so much about it. It has its own unique story. All these people have a story, and they're so willing to be, to tell their story and participate. And, things were different there, but they just had their own special loveliness about them. And Dad took a job that had us move every summer. So the end of the school year, it was just automatic. I moved. And to another, and we always went to different trailer parks. And because that, it was easy, accessible housing. And we moved to Lake City, which had its own flavor, its beautiful flavor, beautiful stories, neighbors that helped each other. Like, there's a new trailer just came in. Let's go see who they are. Let's go find out who they are. Let's go show them where all the stuff is. Let's go tell them, where the school is. They probably need help at the grocery store. And it was always, always like that. So I knew that I would have, it was hard saying goodbye to people, but I learned that that, and especially I never would have dreamt that Facebook, social media would have come along and we could all, so many of us have reconnected now, but it was so wonderful to say hello to new people. And one time, right when we were leaving, when we were in Trenton, right after we had left Americus, we were driving down the road. It was about sunset. And we were kind of driving into the sunset, and I'm over here, teenage girl looking for the Beatles or anything on the radio, and it's going, those of you who are old enough, that's how you used to find a station.
That's right.
And you dial into a signal, but I wasn't finding one. Out of the clear blue in Trenton, Florida, we heard this is WISK, Americus, Georgia, signing off for the night. God bless you. And that was just out of this absolute chaos of this, looking for the signal, an absolute chaos of me and my parents just hurting for home. I mean, we were happy where we were, but we hurt. We hurt our hearts hurt for Americus. We hurt. And to have that, that was such a higher power gift, that just a gift. I will never forget it.
Yeah.
Such a message.
So what, from that sign, from that radio to when you got back, was it immediate, or did you try to find ways, or did it take a little bit longer to get back?
To get back? Oh my gosh, it took years. I've only been back for a year and a few months.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
but you always knew that you wanted to come back.
I always knew that this was home. I always knew. And I would tell people, well, we do it this way in Americus. And in Americus, you can get this in Americus. I remember one time I had something, and I don't know, I think it was I have no idea. One of my classmates in 4th grade said, "Where did you get that?" Let's say it was a purse. That purse. And she said, "Oh, don't tell me. Let me guess. You got it in Americus." And like everything good came to America. Americus has a certain amount of perfection about it. I know nothing's perfect. Life is not perfect here now, but there's a lot of perfect. Yeah. And we continue to move on to different places, to move to different trailer parks, settled for a while at my family's, where my nuclear family, aunts, uncles, grandparents were originally from, in Taylor County, which is just 45 miles down the road here.
Yeah, for sure.
Really close, maybe not even that far. We moved back there. Then I moved to Atlanta after that, and never lived in I lived in the metro Atlanta area for years and years and years and years. And Christmas Eve of 2018, I think I got that year right. No, I'm the only one that can fact check that, so we're going to go with 2018. I was going home to visit my family in Taylor County, my aunt, and I stopped at our family cemetery, which is out in the middle of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. And, I got out to say, my parents are there, my cousin, my uncle, and, it's our little family plot. And I mean, like if a car went down that road every 30 minutes, that would be like a lot. Yeah. So I stopped there, and somebody pulled up, and I was just, saying hello to my parents. A car pulled up behind me, which never happens. Man got out, started talking to me, and he said, "This is my late wife. She passed away. I can't remember how many years ago now." And we started talking. He Facebook friended me, and next thing you know, I'm back in Taylor County in a wonderful, loving relationship with him. He passed away a year in October of 23, and I knew that I wasn't going to stay in Taylor County, so I lickety splitted it back home to Americus.
Okay.
But I mean, I had been all over Georgia, and I mean, there's hardly a place I haven't lived in Georgia or Florida because I am a gypsy.
Yeah.
I'm a gypsy.
But you feel like you're settled here. You want to stay here.
I'm going to stay here. I mean, I learned.
Never say never.
Never
right?
say never. You took the words out of my mouth. Never say never. I'm going to stay here now because there's some. And I wondered when I came back if I was just chasing my childhood, but very quickly I found out I'm not chasing my childhood. This is my adult self. This is the adult version of me, and I am here in Americus, and I just every morning I'm like, I live in Americus.
Yeah.
I live in Americus, and I'm making art and totally rocking it in Americus,
I love that. Do you remember what the first thing you did when you got it back into Americus?
Ooh, gosh. Now that's a loaded question. I think I started, I already had friends here because I had childhood friends here. And we would go to lunch. A lot of us. I had been coming over here to lunch quite frequently with classmates, with classmates, and I think we're getting reacquainted with Jackson Street. I don't remember one exact event.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like, as soon as I got to Americus, I went to this restaurant and I ate and I was like, all right, I'm back.
Well, I do. I did like go to what's Little Brothers now and think about the S&S cafeteria there and, just go down memory lane and oh my goodness, the winds are so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
The winds are so beautiful.
I was going to ask you what kind of has changed over time since you've come back in that, through that time period.
Well, I think there are more restaurants. There's more entertainment. The Rylander Theater was not here when I was here. We did have a movie theater, but not the Rylander.
Okay.
That is wonderful. There's more. I think there's more conveniences shopping wise. You don't have to run to Albany for every last thing like we used to have to. We have a Walmart. Yay. You have to have a Walmart. I mean, anybody says you don't, they really do. And I think that the college has bred so many people here. Habitat was not here when I was here. Habitat did not even exist when I lived here.
Okay.
And that
Koinonia was here though?
Pardon me?
Was Koinonia here?
Koinonia was here.
Okay.
Koinonia was here, but Habitat
was not here. That's right.
Unless I'm sadly mistaken. But I don't. It wasn't on my radar. But Koinonia was. I didn't understand a lot about it. But Koinonia is, to me, the things that make Americus today. And a lot of them were there then, and really nothing's new. It just keeps it sustaining. The college, Georgia Southwestern College, because if you're bringing new young people in, a crop of new young people every year, and a crop of the scholars that go with them, and all the people that accompany them, and all the parents, and all the everything that comes with that. Yes. That is a constant flow of new thought. That's a constant flow of new creativity. That's a constant keeping a light, an eternal light going. Koinonia. I mean, it has its own flavor of awesomeness, and thank God, it's here. I just love it, and then Habitat too, and then of course just the whole Jimmy Carter. It's it's a vibe. It's not any one thing. It's a vibe that's here. And it is a lively vibe. It's a blessed vibe. It's a joyous vibe. Yeah. So do you have a shop here now? Or are you still doing some artwork? Or? I'm still doing artwork. I've written a book. I told you earlier that I wanted everything to come together. To tell a story. Yeah. And people were asking me, I am a business person. It is very much a business to me. I think the difference in me and probably a lot of business people is, this is the thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to try a lot of new things. So like if this is not working, then I have to go a different way. Thank God for the internet. Thank God for, our online shopping. I sell mostly to stores now. I hope I can't remember the original question you just asked. I hope I'm not too far. Yeah. I sell mostly to stores now. I just completed my third order for the Whitney Museum of Art in New York City. That's awesome. And I'm very proud of that. That's one of my biggest accomplishments. But I needed something to sell that people needed and would also tell a story. So I started selling kitchen towels. Okay. And I sell a lot of kitchen towels. And you can find them on my website, and that information will be put somewhere, where people can see it on this podcast. And I wanted to put the story together. So I've written a book called Last Chance Trailer Park. I would make all these characters, a lot of farm animals, a lot of animals. And people would say, well, tell me about them. Who is it? They need names. And so I would just randomly start telling these stories. And I know trailer parks. That's what I know. I'm going to tell a story about what I know. So I started telling stories about Lucy. And she is, can I show this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Here is Lucy. I don't know where to hold her. Here's Lucy right here. She carries her red purse and her red shoes. And I have shoes like Lucy. And and she manages the trailer park. And it's not about any one thing they do. It's about all kinds of little things that they do in the book.
Yeah.
That put together one joyous life. And that was what life in the trailer park was like. And I think that's what life everywhere is. It's not about any one thing.
Yeah.
Not about a big occasion. It's about all these little things put together. Lucy helps out when people can't, when they can't pay their rent. She says, how can I help? What can we do to help you sustain? Not just put a Band-Aid on your issue, but to help you sustain. And in this book, she has a little, we don't have it defined yet. In the very end, she meets Larry, the maintenance man. And all I'm going to say about Larry and Lucy is in the very last page of the book, there's a heart-shaped clouds above them.
There you go.
And, since it's going to be a series of books. Yeah, a series of books, Okay.
All right. So this is the first book of the series.
Right.
And people just really enjoyed you. You're a storyteller. You're a writer.
Right.
And so I love that idea of letting little things accumulate over time. Even your story, as you've been sharing it, it's just these little things that just keep showing up that come to basically accumulate to say, oh, this is who I am. So tell me a little bit about how you try to share your story in these little pieces and how other people can relate to that in some way.
Well, I think everybody, like you can live in a Fifth Avenue high-rise, beautiful skyscraper building, but you still use the same principles that you use in the trailer park. People are people, and people and bringing joy into people's lives just by being one little thing at a time. Speaking to somebody on the street, opening the door for somebody, just little kindnesses, just mean so much. Bringing somebody a meal, asking them how they're feeling, telling them their hair looks great.
Yeah.
It's not to me about any one big thing. It's about a million little things.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so you do that. You're writing now. You mentioned there's maybe another book that's coming out.
There
already?
is. Very soon there's going to be a cookbook, the Last Chance Trailer Park cookbook, recipes from the potluck dinners that they have at the trailer park. Because isn't it just about about eating, really? I mean, that's the one common thing we have is eating, you know, and so much happens. And that's where they have a clubhouse at the trailer park at Last Chance Trailer Park. That's where they go to celebrate birthdays. That's where they go to celebrate everything that's, all the good that happens. It's also where they go to celebrate when, someone passes away.
Yeah. Yeah. What have you noticed? Just kind of little things that make Americus kind of what she is.
The new people that come in, the newcomers that come in, the students from GSW, the new programs they have in the schools.
Yes. Yeah.
When we have things like the Rylander Theater, that is to me just so important. Basically the people are what I thrive on.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are absolutely what I thrive on. And so anybody that adds a new personality, a new, and again, I keep going back to the restaurants because I keep going back to food.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that the Windsor has been kept up. I know that's not new, but that has been kept up so well over these years.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, as you mentioned, there are little pieces, let's say we go to a First Friday. I don't want to go. you go, you meet someone for the first time.
Exactly.
You laugh, you get to experience something together that you might not see in the circles that you're a part of.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Food Lion, and you can meet people and wave at them. But when we're celebrating things together downtown, those are really great things. Or, you know, going to a college, a game, you know, we go to the college soccer games a lot. There's baseball, softball. I mean, there's tennis. There's so many things that we can all just participate in and say, oh, we're rooting for the same things. And
that's what it is about team. I mean, we're a team here.
Yeah.
You know, we're absolutely the teamwork here. And I mean, football's been the passion here in this town for ever. And, you know, I don't think we're really unique in that, but it's been the passion forever here.
Wow. Yeah.
And having so many wonderful places like, you know, like Scoop's Ice Cream. I just love that place.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now tell me some things. I know you care about the city. You love getting out. Are there other things outside of your work that you like to participate in, that you're engaged in, whether it's, you know, social events or things like that?
I am a member of Fellowship Cooperative Baptist Church.
Okay.
And I love that. I love the things that we do there. Every month we sponsor something, you know, a charity. We do a once a month feeding at Friendship Baptist Church.
Okay.
And I love doing that. I keep going back to the Rylander Theater. Love going to the Rylander Theater. I'm a member of a book club.
Yeah. Okay.
And I love getting out and, you know, and hanging out at the coffee shops.
I love that.
I love our library.
Yeah. Now, who gets to pick the book club? Who gets to pick the books a lot of times?
What kind of genres? We vote on it. Okay. Just different genres. Yeah.
Okay.
We vote on it. Yeah.
My wife loves book clubs. She thinks they're really fun, really, really exciting. And then the Rylander Theater, I mean, there are a lot of things that happen through there, a lot of different events.
I know it. I mean, the first play that was on when I came back was Annie. And I just, my gosh, it was just so, how do they get all those kids? That is such a gift.
Yeah.
All those people. I mean, how do they get even like two people together in the same place, you know?
Yeah, I love it. My kids were not able to do Annie, but a lot of times we'd like to jump into the projects, and they're so fun. The people are great. They do a really great job, obviously. And
I love the parks here.
Okay. Yeah, tell me about the parks. Which ones do you like to go to?
Reese Park is my absolute favorite.
Okay. Reese Park is
because it has the walking area, the gazebo, and I even go sometimes and photograph my artwork there at the gazebo because it's just such a great background.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, using natural sunlight and everything. It's such a meditative place to sit.
Yeah, and
I love the antebellum homes around there, around it, and I love all the antebellum homes in Americus.
Yeah,
I just love riding, especially at night when the lights are on and the lighting is just so perfect on them.
Yeah. Did you enjoy did you get a chance to get out during the snow and see?
Oh, yes. I absolutely did. Watching the golf course and, which you can't do normally because I live near the golf course and made snow angels. And I think that's the most snow we've had since, if I'm understanding correctly, since 78 or something like that. I don't know if that's correct. I'm probably wrong about that. Don't fact check me on that. But I'm not even, I have never lived where there was a lot of snow. I mean, when I lived in Atlanta, we would have periodic snowstorms, but that was probably the second most snow I'd ever seen in my life. And, it just makes me so happy to see so many traditions still going. Seeing the Panthers still going well, seeing the Southland Raiders still going, and seeing, the growth of the schools here. And, it's just to me, just such a miracle.
Yeah. Now, as a writer, as an artist, if you were to paint Americus, describe to me how would you go about that? How would you paint Americus? How would you, in words, if you could?
In words, a harmonious place that has a certain vibration that attracts creativity and attracts people being at their absolute very best with whatever their gift is and contributing as a community and living together. Nothing's perfect, but for the most part, celebrating differences.
Yeah.
And working together to solve problems, to have a better community. And And there is something in the air here. There is something in the air here. And
if you had to put it into words, what would you say? What is it?
I would say it's a vortex, but sometimes we think of vortex as a storm, but to me, it's a vortex of joy. And I don't know what it is. It's something that you don't exactly know what it is, but I do think a lot of it goes back to, the three things I mentioned earlier, koinonia, and, habitat, which is somewhat, it's not really one and the same, but it's a little bit one and the same, and the college, and then just the vibe that Jimmy Carter, the 39th president, the guy that was just down the road, and then he became president just in like a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And that was so inspiring to me. I was a senior in high school when he became president. And that really, really inspired me. I thought, well, if Jimmy Carter can be president, I can be an artist.
Yeah.
Nobody can much argue with that,
Yeah. I would assume that you've painted Americus a few different times. Is there anything in particular?
Well, now remember, I'm fiber.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have on the drawing board right now the Windsor.
Okay.
And I like to do big pieces, every once in a while of large buildings. And that, of course, that's obvious since I'm back to do that. I can't say I'm far along with it.
Yep.
But this kind of inspired me a little bit to get going on it.
Yeah, I bet.
To get a little faster. And it would be, and also I'll put in people. It's all about people. Nature is totally awesome. Plants are wonderful. And I'm probably like my plant people, my plant friends are going to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're saying that. Nature's wonderful, but people are the best thing that God ever did.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me.
What makes people unique, you think?
I think the different, like people, different gifts, and that people, when they recognize that they have a gift and they are their authentic self. It might not be art. It could be podcasting. It could be being a minister of a church. It can be, being a great parent, recognizing that you are just here to be a parent, or you can recognizing you are here to cook, or recognizing you are here to teach.
Yeah.
Our teachers are just, my heart is with them. They are just amazing, because that's the future of everything.
Yeah.
Is children. You want to have a better future, a better Americus, reach a child.
Yeah.
Invest in a child. And you don't have to start a program. You don't have to start that's great if you do. Please do if you feel so led. But just invest in a child.
What would that look like to invest in a child? And that's what I love, because we're talking about little things. And that's where your heart is. Start a big organization. That's great.
Perfect.
But what's the little thing?
The little things are compliment a child on their outfit. For all you know, that'll plant a seed that will turn them into a fashion designer. Tell them that, and listen to children and hear what they say. And consider what they say. Don't just say, "Oh, that's so nice." Consider what they say, because they may have something that you never thought of. In fact, I would venture to say they probably do have something you never thought of, some kind of wisdom. Facilitate a child going to an art show. Take them, finance, give them, pay their way or something, or whatever. Buy art supplies, whatever. Encourage the child where the child is. I heard an awesome quote not that long ago, or an awesome analogy not that long ago, that you take a person and they take what they're worst at, and help them improve. And then they'll be average at that. Take a person and a child, of course, we're talking about children, and help them to be better at what they're the best at, and they can be extraordinary.
That's great. That's powerful. I'm curious, with conversations you've had with adults or even kids throughout you seem to have your personality was, at a very young age, you knew exactly what you're going to do. Do you find a lot of people are like that, or do you find a lot of people still trying to figure out who they are? And how do you kind of, if so, how do you kind of help them to define that?
This life, everybody's here at a different speed. I was extraordinarily fortunate. Somebody else might be extraordinarily fortunate to figure out what they're supposed to do at 30 or 40 or 50. It's never too late. If someone has a dream, I beg of you, I plead of you, if you have even the weirdest idea in the world, I beg of you to do it because you're doing God's will.
Mm.
God didn't give you some kind of talent or some kind of idea or some kind of desire just to not do it. So, it comes to people at different ages. I think some people get stifled because of fear. And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Fear of finances, a fear of not having a secure job, fear of not having a secure retirement. And there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
There is something to be said for that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a real thing. That's a thing. But whatever it is, you have to do it. And it could be something that nobody ever thought of before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that many years ago, somebody made the comment to me, well, you can never make a living being an artist. And I kind of had to pause for a minute. I mean, I was making a living being an artist, and this was like 10 years ago, maybe 12. And I was making a living being an artist, but I couldn't hardly name you 6 or 7 other people that were, that I knew. I mean, that didn't have some other kind of job. Now, thanks to our internet, it's a great living.
Yeah.
It's a great living. And if anybody, it's a job choice. It's right up there, with architect and, any astronaut or anything else, or repairman or teacher or anything else. And it's a viable thing to get into.
Yeah. Yeah. So outside of fear, what are some other obstacles that you've noticed from others that maybe, like you said, fear of finances. Fear of, maybe people not agreeing with you and pushing back.
Push back from family. There's a lot of that. I was very fortunate that I did not get that. I was very, very fortunate I did not get that.
Yeah.
But having obligations to children, feeling like they feeling less than, having listened to somebody else tell them they can't, just having someone tell you what you do doesn't exist, and listening to it, to somebody telling you that, having health issues sometimes get in the way.
Yeah.
Maybe, geographically what, might not be in the right place, but I promise anybody that they can, if they follow their passion, it will come together. I'll also promise them that it will not be a straight line.
Yeah.
There is not one person out there that just made a straight line to success. And there's not one person out there that has actually completed, everybody's always striving for one thing more.
Yeah.
You always want one thing more. Willie Nelson once said, and this hit me so hard, that he played the fair when he was a kid. He thought, this is as good as it'll ever get. Nothing will ever, I can die now. I have done everything I possibly can do. I have played at the fair. He thought that was it. Then he played a concert. Then he played here. And then, we know that story.
Yeah.
And so every single thing, it's staying in today and celebrating exactly where you are, what you're doing, and thinking, while you're celebrating today, thinking of what the next level is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're never there. You're never there.
Yeah. And like you said, that's why it's important to celebrate where you are, because there's always kind of that next step you're looking for and engaging in. When you mentioned about, just wanting to be somewhere, not being in a straight line, it reminded me of a quote from John Maxwell, who was at this big leadership, and he was talking, he was one of the speakers, and a young guy came up to him and said, I want to do what you do. I want to get up there and I want to speak with passion. And his phrase was, you want to do what I do, but you don't want to do what I did to get here. And I think some of that time is like in our minds, we have to realize it's not a straight line. There's going to be some really highs and some really lows, but you're going to continue to be consistent over time, and hopefully you'll get better over time, right? And
consistency is very, very important. And I have been a slave to perfectionism. It's funny because my art it's folk art. It's not perfect. I mean, it's like folk art celebrates imperfection. Yet in certain parts of my life, like, getting something together online or making a Facebook post, I'll be so worried about it being perfect. That never happens.
Yeah.
And I have had I've done some. I'm so grateful that I've been able to do some overcoming.
That's right.
ing, still at it. On that, the book took me from the time I got the idea of the book till it actually came out. It was probably 13 years, and most of it was I want it to be perfect. Yeah. And it is not perfect by any stretch, and it never will be. And it wouldn't have been if I kept waiting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm just so grateful. So grateful.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, so we have little things that we're doing, we're paying attention to. And as we look towards the future of Americus, we want to continue to be here. We want to fight for the joys of Americus, to celebrate the good things in Americus, to continue to highlight those things, where we need to stay away from kind of just the negative feel, not speak ill of our city, but to speak joy into our city and also be a part of our city. That's what I love about some of the things that you're saying is that's what a next level neighbor is doing, is not just sitting back, but just engaging in the world around them, and doing it consistently over time. But we also want to see other things. We want to see some things in the future. You had mentioned, if you could have like a magic wand or something, that a movie theater would be a great little thing. A movie
theater would be just wonderful because movies to me are art, and I personally love being around other art that I have no clue how to do it. I mean, I have no clue how to make a movie, and I love just sitting and watching a movie on a big screen, and it inspires me. It makes me just want to go run around the block and create something. I just have so much energy when I see a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wish we could get a movie theater here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know they had one right over here where Roman Oven is and the Shepherd's House and Planet Fitness. They used to have one in this corner. I used to go to it actually when I was a little bit younger. It was like $1 movies.
Wow.
And then that shut down. Not too sure what they're going to do with that particular building now. But I mean, it's a very, like every business, it's hard to be sustaining.
Yeah. And people don't understand that. I mean, people just, will be critical of businesses, but they don't know what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you share a little bit of that? I mean, from a business perspective, I mean, listen, everybody wants to, I agree. There's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit in this community, and I love that. But what does it take?
Again, one of my favorite words, consistency. And believing in yourself, having a good plan, which I haven't always had, but I've learned now you have to have a really good business plan. Be very careful about who you surround yourself with. Be very careful to surround yourself with positive people. Believe in what you do, and to really know that, and you don't want to set yourself up for negativity or whatever, but you really know it is not going to be a straight line. It just isn't going to happen. And to just do it anyway. Just do it anyway. And be ready to be a chameleon, because maybe a storefront won't work for you, but maybe online will, and maybe vice versa. I mean, it's just be ready for any kind of combination you can, think of wherever, the higher power, whoever organizes all this stuff for us, will take you and be open to it, and be open to it, and be joyful.
Yeah.
And be joyful. I mean, there's times when it gets really tough.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been some really, really tough times.
How did you get through some of those difficult times?
Well, quitting for me just never was an option. It just wasn't. And continuing to keep on, always staying in the solution too. Like when a problem arises, you can, oh my God, it's terrible. Give yourself maybe 3 minutes, maybe or less, 30 seconds is even better, of saying, oh, this is terrible. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? A little of that is fine. Allow yourself to feel something, but don't allow yourself to become a slave to a negative feeling. What can I do? And I promise you, no matter what your problem is, there's no situation too difficult to be bettered, and no unhappiness too great to be lessened. And I promise you, if you sit and make a list, you can come up with at least 5 things that you maybe could be a piece of something you could do. And I also promise you this, that you'll be glad it happened after it's over. Yeah. I am so glad that my father, I mean, if he had sent me to a Ivy League college and spent thousands and millions of dollars educating me, I never would have learned, had the joy that I had living in that trailer park and the contrast between Hancock Drive and that trailer park.
Yeah. That's a,
you know, that is my absolute joy. And here I am now. I'm supporting myself with it. I mean, I don't know how much money I'd be making if he had sent me to college, but I mean, nobody looked at me and said, she's going to college. Because, and that, that was great. And there's kids here today, that they're not college material, but they can sure do something and thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know you're connected a lot too to people that love Americus, that want to see Americus grow. Is there anything that you've been excited about, that you've kind of heard just through conversations, that maybe things that other people want to see or that are coming, or just the general feel of Americus overall?
Well, I think there's a big excitement every single fall when a new crop of kids come in to Americus High School. There's always kind of talk about new art events that are coming up, new speakers coming to Americus to talk about art, new people coming in to get excited about art. Any specific project. I mean, I've heard rumblings, but I don't like to talk about rumblings.
Yeah,
I don't have facts about rumblings, but
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's always a rumble. Like if you have 10 rumblings and one comes up,
let's take it.
Let's take it. And
one of the things I would love to see more in Americus is the art being visible. Like, I would love to go take pictures, have people come, people just come and take pictures alongside of art or whatever. We have a lot of great artists here.
We do.
Whether it's from glass blowing to, just any type of art that you could just put on a street corner, just make it visible. And it would attract a lot of people just to come and be a part.
I know we have a lot of some First Friday events coming up. I wish I had dates in my head, but I do know that we have a Artapalooza coming up. I honestly don't know when it is. And by the time this comes out, it may have been already, but, but there's always something. There's always something. And there's just, and I can't tell you how many people I'll just be talking, just like, on the street or in a restaurant, or just somebody goes by. Well, I do art. I love art. Art is for me, and I try not to hyper focus on it because I know everybody's not as into it as I am. And I also try not to hyper focus too, for me. I mean, I could just go on and on. I mean, that's all I care about, clearly. But because I know there's so many gifts out there, and somebody's gift might be, bringing people together, or some crazy idea that nobody ever thought of. And they might go, ooh, when you hear the idea, but let it grow on you a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Those are some of the best ones where you're like, wow, that's actually a really great idea. Well, we talk a little bit, and mainly here on the podcast about, being a next level neighbor. It's the idea of the Good Samaritan. It's being not just a neighbor but is taking those next steps and trying to create a place we enjoy with the people we love. And so it's an intentionality to that. Yeah. And so you defined a good neighbor as someone who has your back, even if you disagree on some things.
Right.
So that's obviously a powerful way to think about community. Have you experienced where someone has done that for you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When I first came to Americus, or came back to Americus, people were just coming out of the woodwork to show me where places were, and to tell me where I could get, where the best services are, like the best grocery store. We only have, we have more than one main one, where the best places to shop were, and where the best restaurants were, and little things like that. Can I help you move? Oh my goodness, the people that helped me move, it was unreal. I mean, people that just went so far out of their way, and the camaraderie I live in Country Club Estates, and just the camaraderie of just the people there. Yeah. Seeing the guy that walks his dog, and I know that anytime that I need any help, anytime I've ever had anything I've needed, there's always been a neighbor or a friend or a church member right there. And the church community of fellowship, and all the churches, I mean, that just happens to be the one that I seem to, connect with the most. They have been so incredibly supportive of everything, because I was like, had just lost my partner when I came here. And that was tough.
Yeah.
And I mean, it had just happened when I moved back here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do think one of the things that I love about your phrase is, even if you disagree on some things.
Yes.
And I
absolutely.
think with friendship now, we talk about this a lot on the podcast, but just the idea between transactional relationships and transformative relationships, that we kind of get used to just transactions. What can you do for me? And when you stop benefiting me, or when you start disagreeing with me, I kind of find myself in spaces where everyone just affirms and agrees with everything that I'm saying. And it's really hard to build a strong, full community without getting into rooms where people feel sometimes uncomfortable or vulnerable. Do you agree with that? And
Absolutely.
And how do you see that playing
and
out?
It should be like, life is a conversation, not a I'm right and you're wrong. It's a conversation, because whenever I have a conversation with someone, I learn. And I certainly pray that I offer something too in the conversation. But when you're just, don't, just like put the barrier up, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to move.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the things that I'm finding more and more. And again, even with all the joys of social media and things, sometimes it gives the wrong tone. You're not really expressing yourself. I can't see your face. I can't see your heart in the matter sometimes. And so I don't even know exactly. And so, but I think it's so important what we're doing right now as we're having conversations.
This is lovely. And
we're building relationships with people because we want to get to that deeper level. Right.
And it's so lovely what you're doing here. I mean, if the little girl Mavis that was here in 1968 had ever known that the senior citizen Mavis would be here and have 50 years of business, not just art, but business.
Yeah.
Be celebrating that. I mean, there's not one thing I possibly could have asked for more. Not one thing.
I love that.
I mean, it's just overwhelming joy.
What do you do, really quickly, what do you do when, or have you been able to get a chance to encourage people when they find people that maybe they disagree with, or it's difficult relationships? How do you encourage them to either, obviously maybe there's times where you have to set boundaries, and I get all that, but other times where you have to kind of fight through it and just like, hey, it's about more than just somebody agreeing with you.
Well, there's times you have to set boundaries. There's times when, you just have to know that everybody's not just like me. I do not want everybody to be just like me. I don't want to be just like any other one person, And I think too, you have to understand that that you have to just respect that somebody else is going to have another opinion, and they just may not. There are times when you're just not going to agree.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah, it is.
That's very, very hard. But there are just times where you're just not going to agree. And then you just have to take it situation by situation to know what you're going to do about it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I've always been encouraged by learning how to listen more.
Amen.
And instead of just hearing the first reaction that maybe be a trigger word for me, instead of having to defend myself from whatever that position is, asking more into what they mean by that.
Right. Yeah,
because I think at a deeper level, we probably agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
We're just not articulating it, or we don't see that how that thing is actually going to come out. We don't necessarily agree with how it should be done, but we do agree with the problem. Yeah. We might have different solutions for that problem.
Right. Exactly. I mean, we agree there is a problem, whatever the problem is of the day, soup of the day, soup du jour, problem du jour,
So yeah, that's really good. So definitely, again, neighboring, it's so encouraging to me because Americus has a very good feel when you come here. People want to know who you are. They want to get you connected. They want to network with you. And we want to continue to build on that as a community. And because it is a diverse community with Habitat for Humanity has made it diverse.
Yes.
And the other factors, the college has made it diverse.
Yes.
And so we want to continue to learn how to grow together as a community. So, all right, well, listen, what we normally do at the end is do these rapid fire questions, get a chance to get to know you a little bit more, just on a few of these things. So just kind of whatever comes to mind. Doesn't have to be perfect answers. But all right. So do you have a favorite tradition or a holiday that you like to celebrate?
Halloween. Oh my gosh, that you should bring. Funny, you should bring that up.
Nice. That's your favorite holiday. Halloween. I love it.
And y'all do it upright. We do it upright in Americus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. What was the worst job you ever had?
Oh my goodness. I had a few, gosh. I didn't have one that was just absolutely terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I cleaned houses, but I love the people I cleaned for so much. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah. So comparatively,
any job, and there's one that was really kind of a cool job, but they had this idea because they were paying me, they could tell me what to do, and that didn't go over big.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell you where it was, so sorry, I'm going to keep that a secret.
That's all right. That's all right. Okay, are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning. I'm up at the crack of dawn, and I am off and running. And at 10 p.m., I have an off switch. Don't even, if you want me to make any sense, don't ask me anything.
I love it. Do you drink coffee or tea?
I keep Coca-Cola with Coke Zero in business.
Okay.
I have put people's Coca-Cola company people's kids through college with how much I drink. I'm not proud of that, but that's what I do.
All right. Now Coke Zero.
Yeah.
When the first time you drank it, you're this is it.
This is it. Yeah. That followed a life, many years of a very terrible, but I'm owning up to it, Diet Coke habit, which was preceded by Tab habit, which was preceded by a Diet Right habit, and I had my first one up here where the train station park is, when there was a grocery store there.
Love it.
An American story.
Okay. Favorite book or author?
Oh gosh. Ooh, boy, that is a loaded question. I don't even know if I can.
You can give me a some. You don't even have to be top three. It's just the three that come to mind.
Okay. Oh my gosh. But gosh, McAllister that wrote the detective, the number one ladies detective agency. I love that. I love any kind of biography. Geez. Ooh, embarrassing one could pull a blank up with. I'm pulling up a blank.
Yeah, you could say Last Chance Trailer Park.
My book, Last Chance.
That's right.
Last Chance.
Okay.
Last Chance Trailer Park.
That's awesome. All right. A few more. Do you have, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I'm going to Greece.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's coming up?
Yeah, in April. And then this will be out before I go to Greece. Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, I will go anywhere. Wherever two or more are gathered, I'm down with it.
Yeah. I love that. Do you have a favorite restaurant?
Oh, and I can't say that here in Americus.
I mean, it doesn't have to be in Americus. I mean, it could be anywhere.
Oh, gosh.
Or it could be, how about
the Swan House? The Swan House.
Okay.
And the Swan House Tea Room in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What kind of vibe is that?
It's very elegant Southern Atlanta type, tea.
Okay.
Well, it's, they have
should I take my wife there, like on a date, should I just go casual?
Go.
It sounds like a date.
It's probably not really a date. It's probably where, being honest, it's probably like where ladies go to talk about guys.
Okay.
Upper class, like very Atlanta.
So
like
I send my wife with her friends.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'll send my wife with you.
Okay, we're going to talk. Yeah. And locally, I just have to say that Pat's Place, there's just something. The walls talk.
Yeah,
and I feel very much like I want to say outsider. That's not the right word, but it's welcoming in that the walls talk with layers and layers, and the walls welcome me there.
Yeah,
and the people, of course.
Yeah, I love Pat.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's
one of the things I do love about Americus is if you go to Pat's Place, Pat's going to be there.
I love
it's just
it.
like This is why you come to a town like
and
this.
The history of it.
Yeah.
And the history of it. The history of it. That's just the years and years and years and one day at a time. One thing at a time.
That's right. Now, all right. Now, as far as how do you relax? Is it artwork, or do you have another way of just kind of just enjoying life? Ooh. How do you relax?
I like streaming, like on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Like things that, community things like, events like, the first Fridays and concerts anywhere where 2 or more gathered, I'm down.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Concerts, I think I don't go as much as I used to concerts.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can't remember the exact last one, but I went to Rufus Wainwright not that long ago in the Symphony Hall. Indigo Girls, went to see the Indigo Girls not that long ago. It was a while back, but not that long ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, here goes a little bit more of a deeper question.
Okay.
What's something that people are most likely to misunderstand about you?
Oh my goodness. That I'm happy, that art makes me more happy than money.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have money. I'm in business.
Yeah.
I do like money.
Yeah.
But that art makes me more happy than money.
Mm-hmm.
And that people make me more happy than money.
Yeah. That's good. Well, Mavis, I'm so glad that you came on the podcast, got to share a little bit of your story, your book with us. You have so much more that's coming out. We're really excited.
Yeah, thank you.
Get a chance to hear more about this character and these stories that really, like you said, come from your own experiences, reminding us of these little things over time that really help define who we are. Also give us a chance to step into some of those things for sure. And so I'm really looking forward to the future of Americus, and continuing to see things grow here, to see light continue to shine brighter and brighter into these places. And so thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. And I want to thank you for all you do for Americus, John.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
And the whole team. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We really love it here. So, and every person I get a chance to meet, I learn so much more about Americus, and it makes me feel more a part of the history of Americus. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. That's it.
I only choked on the book.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, you're fine. I really don't think it